Hello and welcome to the Kilowatt Half Hour, a podcast about the world of EVs brought to you by the team at electrifying.com.
On the show this week, we will be talking about Chinese cars that could potentially be made in the UK, the latest new car sales figures, and why Chinese cars are making people feel very happy. So quite a bit of Chinese car stuff going on there. Lots to talk about. So, hello guys, how are we? We have got Batch and Lucas this week. How are we doing?
Hello. Well, thank you. It's been a lovely week. Yeah, can't complain at all, to be honest. The weather was lovely. It's now gone back to being a bit pants, really, hasn't it?
So, it's gone a bit grey. But I am really enjoying the fact that we've opened this with the weather because it's the most British thing in the world, isn't it? So we've covered that. That's the topics. Never mind your Chinese cars and, EVs having quarter of the new car market. Oh my God, it's cloudy.
That's more than a quarter, 27.3%, don't you know?
27, I know. Well, yeah, exactly. Right, so we should probably kick off with news stories of the week. Batch, what have you got?
Well, it has been a very, very busy week for news, hasn't it? But this particular story kind of caught me by surprise a little bit. So it's Nissan Sunderland, and they have signed an agreement with Chery to start discussions about using up spare production lines at Nissan's plant, potentially to build Cherys. Now we've known for a while that the Chinese are kind of looking at the UK to build their cars. I mean, ironically, MG used to build cars in Birmingham, but that kind of closed about 10 years ago. But why this news was surprising to me was the fact that Chery obviously have got a very strong relationship with Jaguar Land Rover, haven't they? Particularly with the whole Freelander program. Chery have been building JLR cars in China for quite some time. But they've signed this deal with Nissan, and I think it's quite pertinent actually, because let's not forget Nissan was the first Japanese car maker to arrive in the UK back in the late 80s, and there was a lot of consternation at the time. Not that I can remember. I do hasten to add, I'm not that old, but I do. There was a lot of consternation at the time. The fact that Japanese arrived in the UK, they're going to be building cars here, and sort of like 40 years later, China wants to build cars in the UK, and they're sort of partnering with Nissan to do that. So, yeah, a very bit of interesting news this week.
Yeah, it is an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, I think it's fairly inevitable, isn't it, that we're going to have Chinese car makers probably making cars over here. I think possibly to have thought that wasn't ever going to happen was very short-sighted. But anyway, I'm sort of open-minded to this, but you're right. I think it does pose a lot of questions as well, not just about, as you say, slightly odd, the sort of that Chery obviously has very well-known ties with JLR, but it's potentially building cars in a Nissan factory. And also, I think it's going to pose questions for the plug-in car grant, for the rules of origin in terms of the taxes on that kind of thing as well. So it's going to get a bit thorny, I think, but it is interesting. Yeah.
Well, also in terms of pricing as well. I mean, that's one of the reasons why China's been able to come into the market with such low prices, because they're building cars in their domestic markets, whereas building cars in the UK is one of the more expensive places in Europe to build cars. So what does that mean in terms of the prices that Chery are going to be able to charge their cars in the UK? I would imagine it's probably not going to make a huge amount of difference, but it does pose a lot of questions. You're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right, though. It is quite poetic that the first Japanese manufacturer to start building cars in the UK is now helping China get a foothold here too. And you are right, but I don't know. Maybe British manufacturing is just that good. You never know.
Well,
yes.
I don't know. Yeah. It is a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? We've got more Chinese news, haven't we there, Lucas, I think?
Yes, sticking with the Chinese theme, as it were. Car makers are being let down by dealerships as Chinese brands win friends and influence people. So data platform Carblar has revealed that its first customer experience index, which demonstrates that there's a dramatic shift towards Chinese brands in the UK and in the new car market, which, to be honest, isn't massive news to us. China's made a bit of a splash over here for quite a while now, but it appears that people really are just enjoying the products, whether that's the low prices or just the feature sets that you're getting for that money. It's no massive surprise that people are quite happy with the products. I mean, we have seen massive success, but specifically from JQ as well. Some people dubbing them the Temu Range Rover, because yes, they do, to be fair, they look quite good. Whether they drive as well has been better for some than for others. But the JQ8 that I had a go in a few weeks ago now, I was quite impressed by as well, despite one of the back seats quite clearly having a very good jiggle as I was driving along. But everything else from the driver's seat seems, pretty good. So I can quite easily understand that, people on this side are starting to warm up to Chinese cars, especially on the consumer side of things. I think it might take you and I a little bit longer, but...
Well, I mean, it's such a difficult thing, isn't it? Because I can understand why a lot of people are very anti-Chinese cars, full stop. But again, as Batch sort of, mentioned just now, we had all this when Japan started selling cars in the UK as well. And I just think, I mean, I'm kind of okay with it. I think some of the cars are actually really quite good. And,
Yes.
I've driven most of the JQs now, I think. I saw an E5 the other day. I haven't seen many of the E5s. I've seen a lot of the plug-in hybrids. I'm not sure that the pure electric JQ E5 has gone down so well, but I saw it was following me up the motorway, and the grille on it's like this massive kind of like chrome grille.
Waterfall grill, they call it.
Yeah, so it's quite the thing to look at. I can see why people are going for it, you know. And the funny thing is that the people who are buying them will be the people who aren't bothering to comment on the internet and generally making a lot of noise about it, aren't they?
Yeah, and of course this story focuses more so on the dealership experience, which, to be fair, is a bigger part of the experience than a lot of people give it credit for, right? I mean, providing that good service, that good personable, interaction at a dealership is a big part of why a lot of people will consider a certain car over another. So, backing up a good product with good service does help.
That's the thing. I mean, this data comes from Carblar, who's co-founded by our friend Steve Fowler. And, and I look through the data, and in the top, I think it's in the top 10, the top 5 were locked out by the Chinese car makers. Lexus were in there, as you'd expect, but it was locked out by the Chinese car makers. And Carblar was saying that the reason why car buyers are sort of warming to these Chinese car brands is because apparently these Chinese car brands make things, and I quote here, clear, fair, and easy. And that does kind of back up what I'm hearing from people who are going into, for example, JQ dealerships or BYD dealerships. And the staff are overwhelmingly friendly, complete contrast to some of the more traditional brands where, we've all had these experiences, haven't we? We've gone into dealerships and it's like walking, it's like the Mary Celeste, isn't it? There's no attention, no kind of interest whatsoever. This kind of arrogant mentality of, look, if you want to buy a car, then, you're not going to get, not going to get much service from us. Whereas the Chinese car brands, they've got a point to prove. They want to get market share as quickly as possible. They want to make happy customers. So, it was an interesting story this week for me, I thought, but not particularly surprising. So,
I think they're just trying harder, aren't they? That's it. They're trying harder to prove to people that they're there to make it a good experience. And we have talked about this before with sort of dealer experiences. I've had quite a few people say to me that they've bought new EVs and they've got no idea. Understandably, they don't know what a CCS socket is. They don't know how to use a charger and stuff. And the dealers don't explain any of that. They don't go back to the basics and explain it all. So maybe this is something that the Chinese brands are doing better with their plug-in hybrids and EVs and stuff. And fair play to them.
Yeah.
And talking about that, of course, we have also had sales figures in. So we are now looking in May, over 27% of the new car market in the UK were EVs. Year to date, nearly a quarter. So I think it's 220,000 EVs sold so far this year, isn't it? Which is really good news. I think we can all agree.
It is.
So yeah, it is. It's going up. It's doing quite well, and it's. I think we're. I'm not surprised. I don't know about you guys. I mean, I know the plug-in car grant is still having an influence. I think it's, and we're seeing Tesla's doing really well as well. That seems to have gone. That seems to have suddenly done well. There's a great story on the site that Sam's written about, behind the figures, so you can see that there's been Tesla's one of the winners. Renault's doing really, really well. Kia as well, I think, is doing really, really well. So they're kind of like, nearly a third of their cars are EVs. So I think both Renault and Kia, I think, are on the mandate or above. So yeah,
it looks like we are slowly getting there. Obviously, there are some caveats with there being a lot of fleet buyers and a lot of non-traditional buyers, so your salary sacrifice and that sort of thing. And of course, there's incentives, aren't there? As you said, the electric car grant, and quite a few are offering really, really good lease deals as well. Was it the Abarth 600e that you saw this week?
I know,
ridiculous deal
so that's we're going to be. I've been putting together a story about the best EVs you can buy for under £250, which will be up on the site very soon. And the Abarth 600e, and you can get it. And you're talking about it's like £220 a month for an Abarth 600e, even if you want the fluorescent, optional fluorescent yellow, green, whatever. I'd say yellow, they say green, whatever. Even if you want the optional paint, it's still £250 a month. And that's with 8,000 miles a year as well on a 3-year contract. And I know that the range isn't great, and I know that it's not really as good as an A290. But do you know what? It's got a lot more room in it than an A290. And it is really good fun to drive. I really like the 600.
Brilliant fun to drive.
I feel like it's been really underrated because it's really kind of dramatic and fun, and it makes noises and it looks cool, and I just think it's one of those cars that people have forgotten about. And
I was going to say
I really like it. So for that money, I can absolutely see why you would.
It's not just that though. It's not. It's also just the discounts that are available on new cars are. I mean, new EVs at the moment are eye-water. I mean, just gopping. Actually, the level of incentives that dealers are throwing at customers to get a new car registration out the door. And we're only going to see more of this until by the time of the end of the year, because of course we've got to hit that 33% mandate, haven't we? And yes, there are ways of getting around it, but it seems the only way to sort of get there at the moment is by slashing prices. So there's going to be a lot more discounts towards the back end of this year, that's for sure.
I know, but then what I would say to that is that there's always good lease deals on EVs. If you look around, our friends at Car Parison, they've got some amazing deals on, and it always amazes me what you can actually get for sort of a really decent sort of monthly figure. But the Abarth 600e did really catch my eye. I was like, oh, that could be really cool. Anyway, should we move on? Batch, have you been driving anything interesting?
Well, yeah, I have. I have to be a bit careful about this because, of course, it's the driving impressions are embargoed. But I think I'm perfectly within my rights to say I was driving the new Alpine A390 GTS. So that's their most powerful SUV, 470 horsepower, 3 motors.
Not an SUV. Don't call it an SUV, Batch. They'll get very angry with you if you call it an SUV.
Sorry, sports crossover, whatever the French have convinced themselves.
Luxury
SUV looking thing.
Low SUV.
Yes. But I don't think I'm breaking any driving embargoes by saying that I drove the car on track and it made me sick. So I don't think
in a good way or a bad way.
In a bad way, in the way that I was regurgitating my lunch kind of way. And I think.
Were you a passenger or a driver?
I was driving. I was driving. It's the first time this has ever happened to me. And I think there are two reasons why. One, at the track, it was 40 degrees. So we're talking about last week. It was in Italy, 40-degree heat. I don't cope very well with the heat at the best of times. So I was feeling a little bit fragile. Okay. And then throw in the fact that they told us to put the car into track mode, which, they're trying to encourage us to do 4-wheel drifts in this car. And it just made me we were supposed to have 10 laps. I only managed 5. So just a bit of a word of warning to anybody who's thinking about ordering an Alpine A390 GTS. If you drive in hot weather on the track, you may feel a bit nauseous like I did.
I've not heard of many people becoming car sick from the driver's seat.
No, that's what I was just thinking.
Fellow Jono Mario Christou of CarWow has had that happen to him in an Atto 3 before, but Yeah, it's quite a rare phenomenon, that.
You can point and laugh, but I'm sure you will. The same thing will happen to you one day, and then I'll sit here and laugh at you. All right. So.
Oh, by all means, I live for the
day. Fine, Lucas, what have you been up to? Hopefully not being sick. I think we'll move on from that. I don't know, because I mean, maybe in the NDA, maybe the sick was included in the, maybe the sick should be embargoed as well. I don't know, but I mean, I will make a passing mention. So I drove the A390 back at the end of last year out in Denmark for European Coty drives, and thought it was pretty spectacular, really, to be honest. I felt like I had to drive it much faster than I wanted to make it feel Alpine-y and fizzy and fantastic. I kind of wanted it to be a bit more tactile and fun at normal road speed, but it's a cool car. It is a cool car. Anyway, moving on from the sick.
Yes, moving on. I've not had any regurgitative tendencies over the last week or so that's nice. To be fair, I've not driven a massive amount since we last spoke on here, but I was at SMMT with Batch and indeed Sam. Had to go in a few interesting little things. Had to go in my first Geely, the EX5 that was. And it's just, to be honest, as a car, it's absolutely lovely. Again, you don't really want to push it to any extent. Like, it wasn't much fun around the Alpine routes at it wasn't much fun around the Alpine route, but as a car, it's well comfy. It's so nice. Yes, thank you. It's just a lovely place to be, and these things are so packed full of features that it's pretty tough to say no if you're just using it as a daily driver. Similar things to be said about Leapmotor B10. And a couple other bits and bobs, but yeah, I've not driven a massive amount of exciting stuff. But I know that this coming week, not necessarily to drive per se, but I'm going to look at a few things that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about. One of which I can is Calvin the robot out in France with Renault to look at they've got a little robot that goes and does the night shift building cars for you. And then the second thing is in Rome, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about that at great length just yet.
Oh, very cool. Well, I have spent a lot of time driving a Kia EV2 this week. I went out and did a real-world range test out in Norway with the guys at the Norwegian Automobile Federation, which is more commonly known as NAF, but we'll gloss over that. You know what? I had an absolute ball. I loved it. It was a lot of time driving, because obviously they've got to be quite safe about it, but they do. So you do this fantastic route which gradually climbs up and up and up into the mountains, and you have to have your aircon on. They set all the parameters. You've got your aircon on, set a certain thing. They don't even use eco mode. They use the default mode that the car goes to when you turn it on, and you can use your regen however you want to, and all of this. So they really do try and make it as real world as possible. And I have to say, the results were really impressive, but I'm not going to tell you what the results are because the video's out next week, and some of this stuff is a bit embargoed. But I will say that I was very impressed with these guys because they've got a lot of the latest cars. They've got the iX3, and I think you can guess took them a long time to finish the range test on that one. Can you imagine this? So these guys started this years ago, and originally when it was like 200 miles was kind of your average real world range for an EV, and now they're doing 500. They're just looping around this thing endlessly. So you're driving for 12, 13 hours to try and run the car out.
They haven't finished yet.
No, they're still there. They're still going.
They're running out of Norway.
Yeah, Norway is not big enough for this range test. But credit to those guys and to Kia for getting us out there and letting us do it, because it was a great experience. So check out the video that's coming out on that in the next week or so. But that is what I've been doing, was driving a Kia in some unbelievably beautiful sort of scenery and stuff. So I've had a lovely week while you guys have been dealing with all the news. So I feel very jammy this week to have got a chance to do that, because I really enjoyed it. It's those sort of things you do and you're like, oh, it's just such a it's quite a good way to make a living, isn't it? It's quite a good day in the office. You just get to drive through Norway. Very lovely. So enjoyed that. Speaking of videos, what else? So what's gone live this week? We have Polestar 5, didn't we? So
yeah, that was Nicola Jobby, wasn't it? She was very pleased with that.
The road trip in the Polestar 5, and I thought that was a really good video. Actually, I think they really enjoyed themselves with Nick and Manos were out there doing that. What else have we got coming up, Batch? I've lost my list.
Well, we've got the Toyota Hilux BEV video coming out. That's going to be a really interesting one, actually, because the electric pickup market really is growing. There are a couple of Maxus pickups available already. There's an Isuzu and, of course, the KGM Musso EV. So it's going to be interesting to see what Nikki thinks of the Toyota Hilux.
Can I just say, the Hilux, I'm very excited about that, because I think that electric pickups are going to do quite well, and I think they might pick up quite quickly, because I think there's a lot going for them, and I'm pick up, forgive the pun. And I'm quite keen to see how Nikki got on in the Hilux. And can I just say, this is obviously down to our Dark Overlord Ginny as to whether we actually do this video, but I really think we should do a video on the Hilux versus a couple of the other pickups, or one of the other pickups, because what could we possibly put in the load bed? What can we do as kind of an electrifying video? How can we test these pickups? What props do we need to go to find out? I think you should let us know in the comments. How can we test these pickups in an electrifying style? What can we get? What can we get Nick and Ginny to do?
Well, perhaps we carry on the theme that Nicola first did with the number of hamburgers you could get in a e-trans. Perhaps we have a load bed full of burgers. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's an expensive video, my friend.
Yeah, it's going to be a really expensive video. I don't think Ben in finance is going to sign that one off, to be honest. But what I will say, I think they should wear high-vis vests for the whole video. I think it would be great, and I think they need to do it on a building site or something. It would be fantastic.
Yeah. We should do it next with Greasy Spoon or something like that. It'd be lovely.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see Nick and Ginny trying to get Euro pallets into the back of a pickup. That's what I want. Anyway, with that thought, do let us know in the comments how you think we should do a video on the pickups. If we do, like I said, it's up to the boss. So, Lucas, we've got some bargains of the week, and neither of them are in our bath, sadly. But
well, what are you going to do? One still should be pretty fun, though. We've got a Volvo EX30 here. It's the 69 kilowatt hour battery pack, 315 kilowatts of power, which is quite a lot, actually, in a small car like that.
Yeah.
But the rate is £326.78 per month, and that is a 48-month term with 8,000 miles a year. So that's pretty good especially for a Volvo, right? That's pretty cheap. We've also got a used Mazda MX-30. Now, I don't actually know very much about these cars. I've not actually seen that many of them. I don't know if they sold much, but that's probably why this one is quite affordable. Well, that clears that one up, I suppose. Oh, dearie me. Right. And that is a cash price of £9,070, which for a car that was registered in 2021 is sweet nothing, actually. That's remarkably cheap.
Yeah, that is pretty... that is amazing, isn't it? I mean, I mean, the MX-30s is a tricky one because there are much better EVs out there. But you know what? I've always quite liked it. It's got some great interior.
Weird, suicide doors things like an RX-8.
Yes. So it's a really peculiar one. I've always felt like it's got a really niche appeal, but I actually quite like it in its own way because it's got this fantastic kind of cork trim in the interior, which looks really cool, and it's got quite limited rear passenger space, but a big boot. So I've always thought that if you it's just a really strange one. And
but
it's just, if you need it for the school run, then it's quite good. But if you want longer journeys, then it's not going to really suit you. So it's
for a little commuting car I say little, it's not that little, but a reasonably sized commuting car to the station and back, and it drives brilliantly, the MX-30 as well. So that one, £9,000 is 46,000 miles on the clock. I mean, it seems an absolute bargain to me. But don't go on any long journeys in it, though. Just be warned.
No. It's a 124 mile claimed range, isn't it? In real world, you're going to be more like sort of 80 to 100. So
I mean, 2021 was like early days of Mazda EVs, anyway, wasn't it? Really, they didn't have the strongest start as far as the fundamentals like range and so on and so forth go. But since like the late 2010s, Mazda interiors have been some of the best in the game, just because they're a lovely place to be, really lovely materials, really well designed. I mean, cork, for God's sake, to make that work is impressive unto itself. So fair play, I say. And again, £9,000. Can you really complain?
It's a cool car in its own way. It's very quirky, I think is a good word for the
Yes.
MX-30. And can I just say, back to that Volvo, that being the performance, by the way, just for some reference, that's 3.6 seconds to 62 in that car, in your compact EX30 hatchback.
That's a
For
Ferrari
under
355.
£330 a month. So, just for a bit of context there, that's a lot of performance in a four-wheel drive EV, which I've said this already, and I've had some heat for it as well. I really like the EX30. I would buy one were it not for the locking system, which drives me absolutely crackers. But apart from that, I really like it. I even forgive the infotainment stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
Batch, moving on. Have we got an electric virgin this week?
We do indeed. It's Nigel Doyle. He's our electric virgin this week. Nigel wrote into us
Nigel.
saying, my wife and I have just gone electric. I've taken out a lease on a JQ 5, and my wife traded in her Audi A3 for a 21 plate Mini Cooper, which she absolutely adores. We got the cars one day apart from each, which has been amazing because I can share the joy with her. So far, I really like the JQ. Perhaps he took part in Car Blast survey. You never know. He continues, I'm not having any problems with it, and it seems to work really well. The Mini is amazing. The tech is fantastic in it. Honestly, I don't know how I could ever go back to anything that wasn't electric. There is no going back! ! I love it. I love all aspects of the EV world. It's amazing. And just as a side note from Nigel, he says, I love your YouTube channel. Really enjoy the podcast of ambiguous length. Keep up the great work.
We should rename it that. The Kilowatt podcast of ambiguous length. I don't know.
Yes. Thanks, Nigel.
Excellent.
And then we've also shall I whip onto Les Whitehouse as well, because he's written
what a name.
He's written saying, having watched what seems to be billions of YouTube EV videos, I finally booked some test drives. Renault Scenic E-Tech, Tesla Model Y, BYD Seal and Atto 3 Evo, and the Toyota CHR Plus. The Toyota was quieter and smoother than the others, and on the test drive, I got 5.4 miles per kilowatt hour. Order placed, smiley emoji face. It will be available on the 5th of June, but my home charger won't be fitted until the 24th of June, due to a big surge in orders, according to Octopus. So the dealer will hold it until then. Thanks for the reviews and info. Les Whitehouse there.
Excellent.
Oh, thanks, Les.
Yeah,
Thanks,
exactly.
Les.
And also Toyota, nice choice. So what's that? 10-year, million-mile warranty on the battery in that, I think,
something
isn't it?
like that.
Keep it serviced Toyota.
One way or another, you'll be absolutely fine, mate.
Yeah, it's all good. No, it's awesome. I hope you enjoy it. So that's really good news. And what else? We've got a listener question. So Matthew Ayrton, he says, I currently have an I-Pace HSE Black. Very nice, by the way. I love the I-Pace. On NHS fleet lease, doing around 13,000 a year on a 55 to 100 mile round trip, depending on where I'm based for the day. The leasing costs on my scheme have gone up considerably, and to get a four-wheel drive car of a similar spec and performance to the I-Pace is a couple of £100 a month more. I need to be able to get to work in winter, including the couple of times a year that it snows. I enjoy driving and do like to win the traffic light GP. Fair play. I know where you're coming from there. My question is, will I really notice the difference in day-to-day driving, for example, on a Polestar 4 long-range SM Prime? Does rear-wheel drive really hinder driving on British roads in the winter? Well, I think this is quite a good question because I am a big sort of fan of tyres. Tyres are very important, everybody. Tyres are much more important than whether you've got four-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. And I will say this more than once probably, but just put some winter tyres on it. Go for rear-wheel drive, but put winter tyres on it and you will be safer than in a four-wheel drive car that's got standard all-weather tyres on it. I know that it's a bit of a faff, and I know that you have to go and get the tyres changed and store the others, and that's where it becomes a bit of a problem for a lot of people. But in terms of safety, if you do drive a lot and go in the snow and you want something with a lot of performance, or even if you don't have a lot of performance, this is your safety notice from Vicky at Electrifying. Put winter tyres on it because it makes such a big difference, not just to grip, but to braking as well. So it makes such a big difference. I love winter tyres, and even in the UK conditions, they do make a difference. So in short, yes, by all means, go for a rear-wheel drive. Just put proper tyres on it and you will be absolutely fine. Or,
100%
does cross
agree.
my mind, you could go for that Volvo EX30 with the four-wheel drive, but put winter tyres on that as well, and then you'll be fine. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, EVs at this point, yes, they are all heavy, but part of the benefit of them being heavy is that you'll always have pretty good traction, whether you're on rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. So yeah, listen to the boss lady. She's
Yeah,
absolutely right.
absolutely. Well, I mean, EVs are they're a bit heavier on average, but don't forget some of them are lighter than their equivalent ICE cars. I will point out to you there, Lucas. So don't forget
Yes.
that. So Tesla Model 3s lighter than an Audi A4, etc., etc.
This
There's
is
lots
true.
out there
This
that
is
aren't
true.
too bad. So none of these sweeping generalizations, please. Anyway, speaking of sweeping generalizations, I think you've got some stuff to say about the Ferrari Luce, haven't you, there, Lucas?
Oh, have I? Yeah, it's a big week for Ferrari, wasn't
Along with
it?
the rest of the world, I
Yeah,
thought.
I mean, we love harping on the Luce, to be honest. It's yeah, it's been quite polarizing. So let's jump straight into it. Straight from Richard Piper 4828. He says, when Ferrari unveiled the Luce, I was wondering whether it was the 1st of April, but then saw the fairy lights draped on Ginny's ceiling and realized it must be December. So that's fair play, mate. To be honest, I'm not sure why Ginny's still got fairy lights up, or I don't think they're Christmas decorations as such. But yeah, we were all sort of hoping it was a joke when the Luce was dropped. I mean, we all knew it wasn't going to look like your traditional Ferrari, but I don't know about you guys, but when I saw the interior reveal, I was quite pleased.
Oh, the interior is lovely, I
Yeah,
think.
the interior is
Great
absolutely
interior.
gorgeous. It's just a shame that from the outside, I don't necessarily think it's ugly. And we had this, well, you guys had this conversation last week.
Yeah.
It looks good. It just doesn't really look like a Ferrari.
Exactly.
Which is a bit of a shame. But what are you going to do? Anyway, next comment. We've had a bit of a debate about Luce prices. This one from Ivan Kulgis 1780. I hope I did that right. Worth a shot. The depreciation on the Luce could break all records. Wait 5 to 10 years and revisit the idea of owning one. It might be a compelling car. Only to be responded to by Digital 66 Dom. Ooh. He says, I bet £5 that they actually go up in value and become a collectible classic.
Ooh.
What do we think on that? I don't necessarily buy the appreciation thing. I think what they might act as is a bit of a, granted they are expensive, but a bit of a gateway car for Ferraris. I mean, we know how Ferrari likes to make you buy 1 million Portofinos before you can buy an F80 or wherever it is you might actually want. So maybe there's something like that. It's £500,000, but do you guys think it's going to go up or down?
I don't think it's going to appreciate as perhaps some of the more traditional Ferraris have, but I am on the fence. I think it might be much more popular than the general sort of internet noise is suggesting. Everybody's out there going, "Oh, it's awful," and all this kind of thing. Like I said before, I genuinely think it looks pretty cool, actually, and I even like the color. I know some people don't. I do question whether it looks like what you expect a Ferrari to look like, and I question whether Ferrari could maybe have gone with something, a two-seat performance car for its first EV. I don't know whether that was perhaps the best marketing plan, but I suspect that I think there might be people, probably in other markets in the Middle East, maybe out in China, this kind of thing. I think it might do quite well. So it might be 2026's Mark 1 Porsche Cayenne, where everybody says they absolutely hate it and then it sells really, really well. You never know. And like same as the Lamborghini Urus, right? Everybody said that was awful, and then everybody went and bought it. So
True, though, to be fair,
Ferrari
neither of
might be
those cars were
something.
£500,000, I don't think, to be
Yeah,
fair.
well, people who've got £500,000 to spend on a car probably aren't on forums talking about it. So
Mayhaps not.
you never know. That's my opinion on the whole thing. Actually, talking about this, so I was also thinking about the AMG, the electric four-door coupe, the Mercedes-AMG that Nikki reviewed a couple of weeks ago, because I was thinking about the Luce, and I think the AMG got a bit sort of swamped, didn't it? Because it came out, and then a few days later, the Ferrari came out, and everybody forgot that Mercedes had just launched its kind of brand new performance car. We mentioned it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I said that I wasn't actually that mad on the way it looks. I thought it looked a bit kind of melty and a bit weird and not entirely sure. I thought I'd go back and in the scheme of performance cars that are a bit controversial, talk about some of the comments we've had on that. So we had a comment on the, this is the electric AMG four-door coupe from at JMHMKR104 saying, who signed this design off? Stevie Wonder? I mean, ouch. That's a bit harsh, I have to say. At Phaser Tube, would someone please check on the Mercedes designers? They can't be okay. At C Carpenter 246, genuinely don't know how these presenters can talk about how good the new MBs looks with a straight face. Front end looks like a dustbuster, and the back looks like a Pontiac Firebird. That's not a bad thing, is it? I quite like the Pontiac
Firebird's a cool
Firebird.
car.
But thank you for that, because I've been trying to work out what it reminds me of, and that's it. That's what it looks like. It looks like
I'd
a
say it's
Pontiac Firebird.
less Firebird, more screaming chicken. But what are you going to do?
And also, a good point, actually. So, at Kyle Hub says, no discussion about the most important tech, the Yasa motors. I think it's worth pointing out there is a limit to how much we can talk about in the video. It is a really good tech point on the Mercedes that it does have, these are actual flux motors, and that is not from Back to the Future, by the way. It is, but it's Oxford-based motor, especially, so it's built in Britain, which is great, and I think it should be really good. I'm really keen. Both of these cars, I suspect both of these cars are going to be astonishing to drive. I would put good money on both of them being really, really extraordinary to drive. There's some of the tech on the Ferrari as well, some of the more detailed tech on that, like how they've made the sound is actually the sound in the Ferrari. They've taken the sound of the actual electric gearing in the car and emphasised that, which is really interesting. So I'm fascinated by that. And the vibrations they put in the AMG. These guys, these manufacturers are really putting so much tech into it to try and make it engaging and characterful, and really a proper fun enthusiast car. So I'm open-minded. I think that both these cars have had quite a harsh response on the internet, haven't they? But
right.
Yes.
Right. Oh, go on.
No, let's bring things back down to earth, shall we? Not talk about £500,000 EVs that are going to interest a minute amount of the population. Let's talk about French cars and cup holders, because I think Ginny was talking about the Alpine A290 on the podcast last week. Well, if she wasn't talking about it on the podcast, she's been talking about it non-stop to all of us at various points during the week. The A290, for clarification, does not have a cup holder in the center console. The Renault 5 does, the 290 doesn't. And but Andy, MM2X, got in touch, and he said, look, I suspect it never crossed the French designers' minds. I live and work in France. I cannot remember the last time I saw someone walking around with a coffee or a cup of tea. A short coffee is taken at breakfast or in a cafe on the way to work. Just a 5-minute break to say hello to the locals. Ask a Frenchman after 9 o'clock if he would like a coffee or tea, and the answer is rarely oui. A car is to drive, nothing else. Go back 25 years and cars didn't have cup holders. They came in with fast food. Seriously, though, I presume it is something we've inherited from the Americans. I suspect the Luce will be the first. And he's gone on to the Luce. Well, let's
we're back to the Luce.
Can't go back to the Luce. We've spoken about that enough. But very interesting intel there from Andy. Perhaps it is a bit of a British thing or an American thing, perhaps, that we require cup holders in our cars. Don't know. What do you think?
I mean, historically it did come from the Americans, didn't it? I mean, there's always been American cars with more cup holders than seats at times. But no, you're right. Perhaps being the Alpine, it's just one of those things you give up for a more sporty drive, right? Maybe it's weight savings. You never know. That extra 500 ml of liquid's going to add some weight. But, Ginny's only tiny, so it might not matter.
I think the problem is that they absolutely definitely did think about it, because the Renault 5 has got cup holders. This is the problem, is that they've literally looked at the cup holders in the Renault 5 and gone, well, we don't need that, do we? Because this is a performance car, so you're not going to have a coffee in here. Let's put some buttons here instead to differentiate them. And everyone's gone, well, maybe not, guys. Come on. I mean, I still like my my venti latte in my Alpine A290. It's I'm afraid I'm all for coffee. What I will say is there is no French person walking around with a cup of tea, because the tea over there, it's not good, is it? It's not good. They can't do it. They do coffee brilliantly in France, and wine and cheese and bread. Oh my God, I love it all. But tea, no. Right. No. Anyway, I'm probably going to have started some kind of major sort of interracial issue over who makes a good cup of tea now.
I say conflict between the English and the French. That's never happened before.
No. Anyway, love the Alpine A290, but I'm with Ginny. It needs cup holders. So we move on. I think we'll finish up on this, because, as we know, this is becoming a theme with me. So we've had a message in from at ID.7 Tourer. So I think you can guess where this is going, can't you? Glad that Vicky ID Tourer is on the podcast today. Excuse me. Just returned from half term in Cornwall with the family. 5 of us, full boot and 750 miles total mileage, mix of motorway journeys, hilly A roads, coast roads the length and breadth of the country. Charged fine from public rapid chargers, although at times had to hunt for some free ones. You found free rapid chargers? Surely
Where?
not.
Where?
Surely not.
Where?
Oh,
Where are
I
they?
see. Free as in nobody sat on them. Oh my goodness. I misunderstood that one. I was like, my God, there's a free rapid charger. Quick, I must go to Cornwall and use it. I see. So, okay, fair enough. So obviously a bit challenging with the chargers being really busy down in Cornwall. I don't really, this is the funny thing, isn't it? I charge at all the services, mostly up the kind of M3 and M1 and all that, and M4, all the usual from where I am, and I never have a problem. But then you do hear still people, I think, when you get past the big major motorways, it can still be a bit of a problem. Anyway, so apart from that, managed the return trip, 240 miles with 25% still in the battery. So that's good, isn't it? Net result was an average efficiency of 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour, which I was impressed with.
That's pretty good.
That is good. I think we're all seeing a pretty decent efficiency now. The weather's kind of warmer and all that. It's really noticeable. My Skoda Elrock that I do most of my miles in these days is doing well over 4 as well. So, and yeah, I'm very pleased that you're enjoying your ID.7 Tourer, as we all know, one of my favourite cars. So yeah, it's just a great car, and good to end on something that doesn't cost £500,000 as well, isn't it? I think probably.
Quite.
All right. Well, shall we bring this into land, because we're at the obligatory nearly 45 minutes of the Kilowatt Half Hour podcast. So hopefully that will please everybody, because I know you don't like it when it's only half an hour. So thank you ever so much for listening, and have a lovely week, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take it easy.
Bye.